Hello, my friend. Thanks for dropping by this morning. Hi, this is Stephen S. Winn with Connect to Hope Fellowship. It is a beautiful first day of the week, and I'm excited about getting on the road today and taking a little road trip. I love road trips, and I've really been enjoying house sitting here in Northern California and dog sitting for little Pierre here. He's a good boy. Yes, he is. But it is going to be nice to take this road trip and see some friends of mine. So I wanted to share with you something that God shared with me this morning. And in Colossians chapter 3 and verse 1, Paul wrote, "If you then, being risen with Christ, seek those things which are above, where Christ sits on the right hand of God." Now, I've been trying to memorize Colossians, the book of Colossians, in English and Spanish. I'm continuing my uh, what's looking like a lifelong goal of learning Spanish. It's taking forever. But I think that memorizing the Bible in Spanish has really helped. But anyway, so this phrase, where Christ sits on the right hand of God, reminded me of John chapter 1 and verse 1, where John wrote, "In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. The same was in the beginning with God." Now, I've heard it said that when John wrote, "and the Word was God," that means that Jesus is simply some kind of manifestation of God, of his Father, of Jehovah, that they are the same person. And as I look at the context, what John wrote before and afterward, I question that. What do you think? He says the Word was God, but just before that he says, "and the Word was with God." And then right after it, "and the same was in the beginning with God." Now, can someone be with himself? Is that even possible? So are we talking about one being here, or two distinct thinking, acting beings? When we take it back to Colossians, in Colossians 2 and verse 13, I found as I've been memorizing that this was one of my favorite verses. Paul wrote, "And you, being dead in your sins and the uncircumcision of your flesh, has he quickened together with him, having forgiven you all trespasses." In other words, when you were dead in your sins, God made you alive with Christ. Now, this really hit me because when I was younger, oh man, my life was a mess. The sins that I have committed were ugly, ugly, ugly. And to think that God made me alive with Christ is just, it just floods me with gratefulness. And so Paul continues that thought in chapter 3 and verse 1. "If you are then risen with Christ, seek those things which are above, where Christ sits on the right hand of God." This phrase reminded me of John 1 and 2, where John said that Jesus is with God. Paul seems to be saying the same thing. Christ is sitting on the right hand of God. In other words, Christ is with God. What do you think? Are John and Paul saying the same thing? Are they saying that Jesus is a manifestation and the same being as Jehovah? Or that Christ and God are with each other in heaven, and they are two distinct beings? Now, you might ask, Stephen, why is this important? And that's a very good question. Why is this important? I'll tell you why it's so important to me. As I look back on my life and how God brought me out of a deep depression, he made me alive with Christ. And I've realized that the more clearly I've seen who God is, and the more clearly I've seen who his son Jesus Christ is, the less depression I've had in my life, and the more joy I've had in my life. My friend, I am praying for you today that you will see God, who He is, and who Jesus is, more clearly today, so that they can accelerate joy in your life as well.